The forest of Greywood had always been quiet at night, but on that evening, the silence shattered with a howl unlike anything human or animal. It wasn't a simple cry. It was hollow, vibrating, echoing like something calling from an empty cavern. Ethan froze beside the campfire, the hair on his arms rising as if the sound passed through him instead of around him. "Wolves," Jenna whispered, though she already knew the answer. Wolves didn't sound like that. Wolves didn't echo as if their bodies were empty. A second howl rose, deeper, closer. Ethan grabbed his flashlight, shining it toward the tree line. The light shook in his hand. The forest seemed to inhale, every branch bending inward as if bracing for what was coming. Leaves rustled, twigs snapped, and then silence, the oppressive kind, like the forest was holding its breath. Ethan swallowed hard. "We need to leave, now." But as they turned toward the car, something large moved between the trees. A shape low to the ground, fast, unnatural. Jenna whispered, "Ethan, something's hunting us." And from the darkness, glowing white eyes blinked. Eyes belonging to something that had no heartbeat. The creature stepped into the edge of the firelight, and Ethan's breath caught in his throat. It looked like a wolf, huge, towering, built for killing, but something was horribly wrong with it. Its abdomen was torn open, but not with blood or organs spilling out. Instead, the inside was completely empty, a hollow ribcage exposed like the frame of a broken drum. The ribs were sharp, jagged, and clinked softly as the beast breathed. Jenna staggered backward. That thing should be dead, but it wasn't dead. It moved with terrifying speed, its limbs long and unnatural, its movements jerky like a puppet pulled by invisible strings. The wolf tilted its head, and Ethan saw its jaw unhinge wider than any normal animal's, stretching into an impossible gape. A low growl escaped its throat, but the sound echoed not from its mouth, but from inside the hollow cage of its ribs. It was empty, yet alive, and starving. Ethan whispered, "Jenna, run." The hollow wolf lunged forward, claws digging into the dirt, dragging itself toward them with a hunger that felt ancient and merciless. Ethan and Jenna sprinted through the dark forest, dodging branches that whipped against their faces. Behind them, the hollow wolf crashed through the undergrowth, its hollow ribcage clattering like bones in a dying storm. The thing was fast, far faster than a normal wolf. Every few seconds, Ethan felt the ground tremble beneath heavy footfalls. "Don't look back," he shouted. But Jenna did. She saw the creature leap over a fallen log, its empty chest cavity glowing faintly with cold moonlight. Each time it landed, its ribs rattled violently, as though the beast's hunger shook its entire body. They reached a narrow slope, sliding down the dirt. The wolf followed without slowing, rolling and twisting in the air like it felt no pain. "Ethan, this isn't an animal," Jenna cried. "I know." A tree root snagged Ethan's foot, sending him crashing to the ground. Pain shot through his ankle. Jenna skidded to help him, but the wolf was closing in, its breath a hollow whistle. Ethan forced himself up, limping. The hollow wolf emerged from the shadows, ribs wide open, ready to feed. Just when Ethan and Jenna thought the nightmare couldn't grow worse, a new sound filled the forest. A second echoing growl, deeper and more distorted than the first. Jenna's blood ran cold. "There's another one." Two glowing white eyes appeared to the left. The hollow wolf had a companion. This one was even more horrifying. Its back was torn open, spine exposed like a row of ivory blades. Each vertebra glistened wetly in the moonlight, dripping with black sap-like fluid that hissed when it touched the ground. "No, no, no, no," Ethan whispered. The second wolf moved silently, despite its deformities. Its body didn't move naturally. Its limbs shifted at angles no creature should be able to survive. The two wolves circled them, one growling from the front, the other cracking bones from behind. Ethan grabbed a broken branch as a weapon, but it felt useless against these abominations. Jenna tightened her grip on his arm. "We're dead." The first wolf lunged, and at that exact moment, a distant flare shot into the sky, bursting in red light. Someone else was in the forest, and they were signaling a warning. A figure emerged from the trees, illuminated by the fading red flare. He wore a thick, battered coat and carried a massive crossbow strapped to his back. His face was hidden behind a mask of blackened metal shaped like a wolf's skull. "Down!" he shouted. Ethan and Jenna dropped as a bolt flew past them, striking the first hollow wolf directly in the ribcage. The creature staggered, its hollow chest ringing like struck iron. The stranger reloaded with practiced speed. "Move! Don't let them surround you!" The second wolf sprinted toward him, jaw unhinging. He fired again. The bolt pierced through the beast's exposed spine. The wolf shrieked, but no breath came with the cry, only the clattering of loose bones. The wolves retreated into the shadows, circling at a distance. Ethan stared at the masked man. Who are you?" The stranger lifted his mask slowly. His eyes were tired, bloodshot, filled with years of terror. "I'm the only one left who knows how to kill them," Jenna asked, trembling. "Kill? What? What are they?" He answered with a grim whisper. "They're not wolves. They're the forest's dead, walking without bodies." The stranger motioned for them to follow as he retreated deeper into the forest. Ethan hesitated, but the echoing rattles of the hollow wolves closing in left no room for argument. "We need higher ground," the man said. "The dead don't climb," Jenna whispered. "The dead?" He glanced back at her, face grim. "Those wolves were once people, hunters, wanderers, even children. The forest keeps their bones, empties them, and uses them." A chill crawled up Ethan's spine. They reached a rocky slope where twisted roots formed a natural staircase. As they climbed, the stranger kept scanning the darkness. Ethan asked, "You said you're the only one left. Left from what?" "A group," he said softly. "There were 12 of us. We came to cleanse the forest. But the dead learned. They hunted us at night. One by one." He exhaled shakily. "I've been alone for 6 years." A hollow howl erupted behind them, closer than ever. The stranger pulled them behind a boulder. "Stay low." Below the cliff, the two hollow wolves prowled the clearing, sniffing, searching. Jenna covered her mouth, shaking. The stranger whispered, "Once the forest claims a body, it never gives it back." And one of the wolves lifted its head, sniffing their scent. The wolves circled the clearing, their empty torsos rattling like wind chimes carved from human remains. Ethan tried to steady his breathing, but the sound of the beasts searching for them echoed off the rocks, bouncing back like cold whispers. The stranger nudged Ethan. "Listen carefully. Do you hear it?" Ethan strained his ears. First, nothing. Then, faint, like soft tapping, a rhythm. Jenna noticed it too. "What is that?" "They're bones," the stranger said. "They speak to the forest. They warn each other." Ethan's heart dropped. "You're saying they know we're here?" The man nodded. Suddenly, the second hollow wolf lifted its head sharply. The tapping in its spine grew louder as if responding to a silent call. Its empty ribcage expanded, then contracted with a sudden jerk, filling the air with a hollow shriek. "They found us," the stranger hissed. He pulled a pouch from his coat and tossed a handful of black powder into the air. The powder burst into a cloud of sparks, creating a brief wall of red light. "Move! Up the rocks!" They scrambled upward as the wolves lunged through the fading glow. But as Ethan climbed, he heard something worse than the bones. The third howl, higher, younger, something else was awake. From the treetops came a creature smaller than the others. Fast, bone-light, barely more than a skeleton wrapped in scraps of shadow. It scampered along the branches with unnatural agility, its empty eye sockets glowing faintly. Jenna gasped. "They have young." The stranger's face twisted with sorrow. "Children the forest claimed. They're the most dangerous. They don't stalk. They jump." Before Ethan could react, the hollow cub dropped from above, landing inches from him. Its ribs clicked rapidly like teeth chattering in freezing cold. It lunged. The stranger shoved Ethan aside and fired. The bolt struck the cub's shoulder, but instead of falling, The creature split in two, its body separating like brittle glass. Both halves kept moving. "What the hell?" Ethan shouted. "They don't die like adults," the man yelled. "Run!" The cubs, now two, scrambled up the rocks after them, their bone talons scraping stone like scalpels. The larger wolves howled below, the forest trembling in response. Ethan, Jenna, and the stranger reached a narrow ledge overlooking a steep ravine. "There," the man pointed. "A cave. They can't go inside." "Why not?" Jenna panted. "Because that cave," he said, voice breaking, "is where they were made." The entrance to the cave was narrow, formed of jagged stone that seemed to twist unnaturally inward, like the forest itself was trying to keep something contained. The moment the three stepped inside, the air changed, colder, heavier, carrying a metallic scent. Jenna gripped Ethan's arm. "This place feels wrong." "That's because it is," the stranger said. "This is where the forest empties the dead, where it hollows them." As they ventured deeper, they saw carvings on the walls, shapes of wolves, humans, trees, and twisted forms merging together. The farther they walked, the more the stone seemed to pulse, as if alive. Ethan whispered, "How do you even know all this?" The stranger hesitated. Then, "Because my brother was the first hollow wolf." A cold silence filled the cave. Before Ethan or Jenna could ask more, a piercing scream echoed through the tunnels. One of the cubs scraping at the entrance, unable to enter but furious. "They'll wait outside," the man said. "But the adults, they'll try to break the rock if they have to." They continued forward until the tunnel opened into a large chamber. In the center lay a pit filled with bones, all swirling gently, as if something beneath them was breathing. The bones in the pit shifted with a rhythm, inhale, exhale, like a massive creature resting beneath the surface. Jenna stepped back, covering her mouth in horror. What is that?" she whispered. "It's the heart of the forest," the stranger said. "Where it feeds, where it creates the hollows." Ethan stared. "You're saying the forest is alive?" "Alive, hungry, and angry," the man replied. "For decades, it's taken bodies to rebuild itself. The wolves are how it moves." The pit suddenly heaved, bones rising like a wave. A large skull surfaced, human but stretched, warped, fused with tree roots. Its empty sockets glowed faintly, the same color as the wolf's eyes. Jenna screamed. Ethan pulled her back. The stranger loaded his crossbow. "We destroy this pit, we stop the wolves. Maybe even free the dead." "How?" Ethan asked. "Fire." But before he could strike, the cave shook violently. Outside, the hollow wolves howled, their voices merging into a single monstrous roar. The cubs screeched and hammered at the stone. The stranger cursed. "The forest knows we're here." Roots began crawling down the walls like living snakes, and it's trying to seal us inside. The roots slithered down the walls, thick and pulsing like veins filled with black blood. Ethan swung his flashlight toward them just as one root snapped forward, wrapping around his ankle. He fell hard. Jenna grabbed his arms, pulling with all her strength as the root tightened, trying to drag him toward the pit. The stranger slashed the root with a curved hunting knife. Sap sprayed, dark, murky, and warm like spoiled blood. The root recoiled, screeching with a sound no plant should ever make. "Move!" the stranger ordered. "The forest is awake now." More roots burst from the stone, gripping the ground like skeletal hands pulling themselves free. Jenna gasped. They're bodies. The roots, they're made of bodies." And she was right. Under the peeling bark were hints of skin, gray, stretched, embedded. Fingers fused into wood, faces flattened into knots. The forest hadn't just absorbed the dead, it had woven them. The pit rumbled again, bones shifting. Something massive was trying to rise. "We don't have much time," the stranger said, loading another bolt. "If the heart wakes up fully." He didn't finish, because a wolf's hollow head slowly emerged from the pit. But this one was the size of a horse. The creature hauled itself from the pit, An enormous hollow wolf, its ribcage expanded like warped tree branches. Roots dangled from its jaws like torn tendons. Its glowing sockets locked onto them. Jenna whispered, "We're dead." "No," the stranger said, raising his crossbow. "Not yet." He fired. The bolt sank into the giant wolf's chest, but instead of staggering, the creature inhaled. The bolt shot back out, launched across the cave as if expelled by a vacuum. "What the hell?" Ethan shouted. "It's empty inside," the stranger said. "Nothing to pierce." The wolf roared, and the force of its hollow scream blasted dust and bones into the air. Smaller wolves howled outside, answering the call. Then the giant charged. The ground shook with every step. Ethan dove aside. Jenna rolled behind a fallen slab of stone. The stranger wasn't fast enough. A massive paw, made of interwoven femurs and bark, smashed into him, throwing him against the wall. His mask shattered. He collapsed, coughing blood. "Help me up," he rasped. Ethan grabbed him, pulling him upright. "We can't kill that thing," Ethan shouted. The stranger wiped blood from his mouth. "Not with bolts." He pointed at the furnace-like glow deep inside the creature's chest. "But maybe we burn it." The giant hollow prowled around the chamber, sniffing, its chest glowing like a dim furnace. Each breath rattled its bones. "We need fire big enough to reach its core," the stranger said. Ethan glanced at the pit. Bones cracked and shifted, releasing hot air. "What about that?" The stranger shook his head. "Too unpredictable. We'd be ash before it burns." Jenna pointed upward. "What about the ceiling? The roots? Can they burn?" A slow smile crossed the stranger's bloodied face. "Yes, and if they fall, they'll collapse the chamber on the pit. Trap the heart. Trap the wolves." The giant hollow wolf snarled, sensing their plan. "Ethan!" Jenna yelled. "Flares! You still have two." He fumbled through his pack. "Got them." The stranger loaded his last bolt. "Aim for the roots. When this hits, throw the flares." The giant wolf lowered its head, ready to charge again. The stranger fired. The bolt struck the ceiling, embedding deep into a thick bundle of roots. "Now!" Ethan lit both flares. Their red glow filled the chamber. Jenna grabbed one and hurled it upward. Ethan threw the second. The flares ignited the roots, and the forest screamed. Flames surged across the ceiling, racing along the roots like fire chasing veins. The chamber filled with crackling heat and raining sparks. The giant hollow reared back, screeching silently, its bones vibrating violently. Ethan shielded Jenna as a burning root snapped and crashed to the ground. "Keep moving!" the stranger yelled, limping toward the exit tunnel. But the forest wasn't going to let them go. The pit erupted. Bones launched into the air like shrapnel from an explosion. A wave of heat surged upward as the burning ceiling began to cave in. The giant hollow lunged at them one last time, but a flaming root fell directly onto its spine, pinning it to the ground. The creature writhed, its hollow chest glowing brighter until, boom, its core erupted, sending a blast of burning air that shook the entire chamber. The heart of the forest screamed again, louder, deeper, angrier. Ethan stumbled, nearly falling into the shaking pit. Jenna grabbed him. "Run!" Together they sprinted toward the tunnel. Behind them, the stranger stayed back, lighting another flare, throwing it directly into the pit. "Burn, you monster!" he whispered. The chamber collapsed. The tunnel shook as Ethan and Jenna sprinted through it, choking on smoke. Hot air blasted past them as the chamber behind collapsed fully, sealing the pit beneath tons of flaming rubble. They burst into the open forest, only to see fire spreading through the trees like a living wave. The hollow wolves outside were staggering, their bodies collapsing as the burning roots severed their connection to the heart. One wolf tried to lunge at Ethan, but it fell apart mid-air, its bones scattering like dry leaves. "We did it," Jenna gasped. "We actually..." A violent cough interrupted her. The stranger stumbled out of the tunnel behind them, barely alive, covered in ash and blood. "You destroyed the heart?" Ethan asked. The man nodded weakly. "It'll burn for hours, maybe days. The forest won't remake itself again." He looked at them with exhausted eyes. "You survived something no one else ever has." The ground trembled one last time, and then the forest fell silent. Completely silent. Ethan exhaled shakily. "Let's get out of here." As they walked away, the flames behind them devoured the last of the hollow wolves, and the forest finally died. The forest had grown impossibly silent. No wind, no insects, not even the distant rustle of branches. It was as if the entire wilderness was holding its breath, waiting for the final act to unfold. Nathan staggered between the trees, each step heavier than the last, the metallic scent of blood rising from the deep gouges across his arms. He wasn't sure how long he had been running, minutes, hours, or an eternity, but he knew one thing. Whatever was hunting him was no longer behind him. It was all around him. Shadows twisted unnaturally between the trunks, moving without sound, without shape, without mercy. He could hear whispers drifting through the dark, voices that didn't belong to any living creature. They called his name not as a warning, but as a welcome. His flashlight flickered once, twice, then died. Total darkness swallowed him whole. Nathan forced himself to breathe, to think, to believe there was still a way out. But when he reached the clearing, he froze. The trees formed a perfect circle, and in the center lay the remnants of countless others who had tried to escape before him. And above them, glowing in the darkness, were the same eyes that had followed him since the moment he stepped into the forest. He finally understood. No one ever leaves these woods. Not alive.